The reset, Caleb. Caleb, what are you spacing out for? The roar exploded in his ear, yanking Caleb Thorne back to reality. He jolted, his eyes darting across the austere, high-ceilinged grand hall of the Zenith Order. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. He had actually done it. He was reborn. He was back in the grand hall, back at the precise moment the farce that would destroy his life began. A warm, pulsating heat radiated from his palm. He looked down. It was the Ember Heart, the artifact he had nearly died retrieving from the Draconic Rift. The liquid fire trapped inside, the crystal swirled with vibrant life. He looked up. Sitting on the raised dais was his mentor and the director of the Order, Seraphina Frost. Dressed in immaculate white, her expression cold and detached, she was a rank 5 ascendant, unmatched within the organization. Then that voice, affected, whining, and utterly repulsive, cut through the air again. It belonged to his junior disciple, Julian Vane. Julian faced Seraphina, his face a mask of aggrieved innocence, his voice trembling. Director, senior sisters, please don't force Caleb. If he doesn't want to give me the Ember Heart, it's just my bad luck. I'm the one who's useless, the one who couldn't secure an artifact in the rift. This act, it was identical to the last timeline. Victoria Vance, the eldest senior sister, spoke up immediately, her tone brokering no argument. Caleb, hand over the Ember Heart to Julian. Now, Emily Snow and Chloe Sparks, the second and third sisters, chimed in right after. Come on, Caleb, Emily said. That crystal is exactly what Julian needs to break through to the adept rank. If you give it to him, he'll be forever grateful. Listening to the chorus of his senior sisters, a wave of nausea and icy hatred surged in Caleb's gut. In his past life, right at this moment, Julian had just joined the Order, relying on the fact that they shared a fire affinity. Though Julian's was merely high grade while Caleb's was supreme grade, Julian played the victim. Back then, Caleb was naive. He valued the bonds of the Order, so he handed over the artifact he had risked his life for. The result wasn't gratitude. It was endless schemes and betrayals from Julian, culminating in Caleb's power being stripped and his body left to rot in the wasteland. Not this time, Caleb thought. I won't make the same mistake. Seraphina Frost saw Caleb hesitate and assumed he was refusing. Her voice sharpened. Caleb, as the senior disciple, it is your duty to look after your juniors. You are already a rank 3 elite. The Ember Heart offers you minimal gain, but for Julian, it is the key to a perfect foundation. Give it to him. I will compensate you later. Hearing the exact same empty promise, Caleb laughed internally. Compensation? A lie to placate a fool. In his past life, Seraphina never honored it. Worse, when he gave up the crystal, Julian staged a backlash during absorption, vomiting blood and accusing Caleb of tampering with the artifact. Seraphina hadn't even let Caleb speak. She branded him malicious and threw him into the Abyss prison to be tortured. Caleb gripped the Ember Heart. His mind raced. Right now, he wasn't strong enough to fight Seraphina and the 3 sisters. Open defiance meant suffering. He had to bide his time. Decision made, he relaxed his grip and tossed the crystal towards Seraphina. She caught it instinctively, the heat of the artifact washing over her. Caleb spoke, his voice dead calm. You're right, Director. The Ember Heart does little for my current level. Since Julian needs it, he can have it. But before that, I ask that you verify it publicly. Confirm that it hasn't been tampered with, so there are no misunderstandings later. Seraphina, Victoria, Emily, and Chloe froze. They stared at Caleb, surprised. The Caleb they knew was proud, never this cautious or cynical. Victoria recovered first, a sneer curling her lip. At least you know your place, Caleb. Since you handed it over voluntarily, I'll overlook your rudeness. Emily and Chloe smiled, their expressions radiating a patronizing good boy vibe. Down below, Julian's heart sank. Panic flared in his chest. Why did he do that? Does he know my plan? Impossible. I never told anyone. Julian had planned to fake a seizure during the absorption process and frame Caleb for sabotage. But Caleb demanding a public inspection killed that scheme instantly. On the dais, Seraphina held the Ember Heart. Though puzzled by Caleb's sudden caution, she channeled her energy into the crystal. A moment later, she nodded. It is pure. No tampering. She looked at Julian. Julian, thank your senior brother. He risked his life for this. Julian suppressed his shock and forced a grateful smile, bowing to Caleb. Thank you, senior brother Caleb. I will make good use of it and won't let you or the director down. Before he could finish, Emily Snow interrupted impatiently. Julian, why thank him? Seniors taking care of juniors is the natural order. He dragged his feet anyway. Caleb looked at Emily, his eyes cold. He remembered when he first joined. These three sisters had cared for him. Emily, a talented healer, used to rush to his side whenever he was hurt. But the moment Julian arrived, everything changed. Her eyes no longer saw Caleb. All her care was funneled to Julian, leaving only criticism for him. Caleb glanced at Julian. The smugness in the younger man's eyes was like a needle, silently mocking. See? Everything that is yours will be mine. Caleb suppressed the violence rising in his chest. He had bigger plays to make. He bowed slightly to Serafina. Director, I sustained injuries in the rift. I need to heal. Permission to withdraw. In the past, Emily would have rushed to check his wounds. Now, she stayed glued to Julian's side. The others were busy fawning over the new favorite, offering tips for his advancement. Even Serafina just waved a dismissive hand. Fine, you worked hard. Go. Caleb turned and walked out of the grand hall. The moment he crossed the threshold, his demeanor shifted. He sprinted, blurring as he activated his speed technique, heading straight for the exit of the Order's compound. He was going back to the Draconic Rift. It was dangerous, but he had his memories. In his past life, because he was detained by Julian's slander, he missed the true treasure of the rift. He reached the Fire Dragon pool quickly. This was where he had found the crystal. In the previous timeline, while he was rotting in prison, a wandering rogue cultivator had found primeval dragon blood here, using it to skyrocket in power. This time, that power is mine. Caleb didn't hesitate. He dove into the boiling pool, swimming toward the crushing depths. In a hidden crevice at the bottom, he found it, a pool of crimson liquid, heavy with ancient power. Primeval dragon blood. He sat cross-legged in the searing water and began to absorb it. Pain, absolute and tearing, ripped through him. It felt like his bones were being pulverized and reforged. He gritted his teeth, nearly blacking out, but he welcomed the agony. It was the price of power. His cultivation level began to surge. Rank 3, level 6. Level 7. Level 8. Level 9. When the last drop was absorbed, Caleb opened his eyes. The water around him boiled from his aura alone. He was a rank 3 elite, level 9. Solid. Powerful. He clenched his fist. Rank 3, level 9. Not enough. Once I hit rank 4 soul, then rank 5 ascendant. No one in the Zenith Order will be able to touch me. The eviction when that day comes. I'll leave this place and never look back. The Zenith Order can rot for all I care. Caleb inspected his internal state. He had only jumped 3 levels, but his foundation was now terrifyingly deep. The dragon blood had pushed him to the absolute peak of the elite rank. To break into rank 4, the soul rank, he would need massive resources. And rank 5, the ascendant rank, was a chasm few ever crossed. But Caleb wasn't discouraged. His eyes burned with ambition. In his last life, he bled for the Order, for his sisters, only to have his rewards handed to Julian. This life, he lived for himself. He left the rift and slipped back into the Zenith Order's compound under the cover of night. He headed for his private quarters, a high-end dwelling built for him years ago. But the biometric lock was disabled. It wouldn't open. As he prepared to force the door, it slid open. Victoria, Emily, Chloe, and Julian walked out. Caleb stared at them. Julian stepped forward, a fake, apologetic smile plastered on his face. Caleb, you're back. I'm so sorry. I'm occupying your place. Victoria said I needed a quiet environment to break through to the adept rank, and your quarters has the best energy flow. So we picked this. Breaking through, Caleb's knuckles turned white. This dwelling had been a gift from Victoria herself when he joined. She had installed a custom energy conduit for him. Now, she had given it away without a word. Seeing the triumph in Julian's eyes, Caleb remained eerily quiet. Victoria spoke, her voice frigid. Caleb, be a good senior. You have plenty of options. This dwelling is mine to give, and Julian needs it more right now. Exactly, Emily added. With your cultivation, you can sleep anywhere. Let the junior brother have this. Chloe nodded vigorously, glaring at Caleb as if daring him to object. Caleb looked at them, his mind clear. In the past, he had fought for this room because it symbolized Victoria's care. The argument had ended with Victoria blasting him through a wall to protect Julian. He had been thrown down the mountain like garbage. He looked at their entitled faces and smirked. I didn't build a place. If Julian likes it, he can have it. Julian blinked, disappointed. He had wanted to fight. He wanted to play the victim again. Thanks, senior sisters. And thank you, Caleb, for being so big about this, Julian said, pivoting to gratitude. Caleb turned to leave. Caleb, wait, Julian called out, his voice dripping with false sweetness. Why the rush? Come in, have some tea in my new place. The emphasis on my made Caleb's stomach turn. Pass. I don't have the stomach for it. Julian immediately turned to the women, pouting. Sisters, is he mad? Maybe I should give it back. Nonsense. Emily snapped, glaring at Caleb. Caleb, you already gave it to him. Don't be petty. I'm disappointed in you. Yeah, Chloe added. Are you jealous? Julian is new. We have to protect him. It's fair. Victoria's voice dropped an octave, heavy with command. Caleb, apologize to your junior brother. Caleb stared at them. What kind of spell was Julian weaving? Apologize? For what? You took my home without asking. I'll let him keep it. And I need to apologize? You're being insolent. Victoria stepped forward. Her aura, rank 4 level 3, slammed into Caleb like a physical weight. Caleb locked his knees, refusing to buckle. The pressure was immense, squeezing his lungs. A trickle of blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. I did nothing wrong, Caleb gritted out. I will not apologize. Julian grabbed Victoria's arm, acting frantic. Victoria, stop. Don't hurt him. It's my fault. I shouldn't have invited him in. Seeing blood on Caleb's chin, Victoria hesitated and pulled back her aura. Caleb gasped for air, leaning against a pillar. His chest burned. Emily stepped forward, looking concerned for a split second. Caleb, are you okay? Do you need healing? Caleb recoiled from her hand. Don't touch me. He summoned his arrow blade, stepped onto the shimmering energy construct, and shot into the sky, descending the mountain without looking back. Let him go, Victoria said coldly. He's just throwing a tantrum because he's jealous of Julian's potential. He probably bit his own lip to make us feel bad, Chloe scoffed. Emily watched him disappear, her worry fading as she nodded in agreement. Julian lowered his eyes to hide his smirk. Run, Caleb. Everything you have is mine. Caleb landed on a desolate peak miles away. He used a blast of energy to carve a rough cave into the rock face. Sitting down, he swallowed a healing pill. Victoria. She nearly cracked my foundation, he muttered, wiping the blood. He spent 3 days healing. When he stood up, he used his energy to shred his dirty clothes and pulled a fresh set of tactical robes from his spatial ring. Suddenly, his ID badge buzzed. An emergency summons from Serafina. He flew back to the Grand Hall. The sisters and Julian were already there. The Blackwood Forest mission is a go, Serafina announced from her chair. Victoria leads. Protect Julian. He just hit rank 2. He is the priority. Understood, Director, Victoria said, beaming at Julian. They walked out. Caleb followed silently, a ghost in their wake. He knew the timeline. Soon, they would enter the territory of the Alpha Obsidian Wolf, a rank 4 beast. In the past, Julian had tried to steal a fire spirit fruit near the wolf's den, triggering the beast. Caleb had held the line, nearly dying while they escaped. Julian had later blamed Caleb for the incident, claiming Caleb tried to steal the fruit. Serafina had believed Julian, giving the fruits, found later, to Julian, boosting him to rank 3. Caleb clenched his fist. Those fruits are mine. On the trail, the sisters fluttered around Julian. It felt less like a dangerous mission and more like a picnic. Julian, emboldened by his new power, attacked low-level beasts, showing off. Caleb, check out that form. Victoria told me. Julian shouted, grinning. Sloppy, Caleb said. The sisters exploded. Caleb, Victoria barked. Stop being bitter. Julian is doing great. Emily yelled. Julian teared up. I'm sorry. I'm just not as talented as Caleb. You're garbage, Julian, Caleb said flatly. Crying won't change that. That's it. Victoria shouted. Get out of the formation. If we run into trouble, don't expect us to save you. Yeah, get lost. Chloe added. Julian sniffled. Sisters, don't be mean. Maybe if he apologizes. Since you want to split up, Caleb interrupted. Let's split. Don't worry. If I die, I won't call for help. He turned and vanished into the dense tree lane. Let him rot. Victoria spot. Free of them, Caleb circled back. He knew the terrain. He moved swiftly, bypassing the mobs, heading straight for the Alpha Wolf's lair. He arrived first. He waited. Soon, he heard the sounds of combat. The sisters were engaging the peripheral guards. Caleb slipped into the main den. Deep inside, over 100 glowing ignis fruits grew on the cavern walls. He swept his hand, collecting every single one into his spatial ring. As he turned to leave, he heard a whimper. In a nesting pit, 2 wolf cubs huddled together. Suddenly, Julian appeared at the tunnel entrance. He saw the cubs. A cruel glint flashed in his eyes. He drew his blade and decapitated them instantly, kicking their bodies toward the entrance. Caleb watched from the shadows, disgusted but unsurprised. You just dug your own grave, Julian. Caleb slipped behind Julian. He struck fast, a chop to the neck knocking Julian unconscious. He dragged Julian to the entrance, placed the severed cub heads in Julian's hands and planted a single Ignis fruit in his pocket. Then he vanished. Moments later, a roar shook the forest. The alpha obsidian wolf had returned. The scapegoat, the alpha wolf, found its slaughtered cubs and the human holding their remains. It went berserk. Victoria, Emily, and Chloe arrived to find Julian unconscious at the mouth of the cave, the enraged beast charging him. Remembering Seraphina's orders, Victoria engaged the monster, barely holding it back. Emily sent a distress signal. Chloe dragged Julian to safety. Caleb listened to the chaos fading behind him as he sped away. He found a secluded cave, sealed the entrance with a barrier array, and sat down. He pulled out the 100 Ignis fruits. He began to eat. Energy exploded in his gut. His cultivation barrier shattered. Rank 4, soul rank level 1. Level 2, level 3. He didn't stop until the energy stabilized at rank 4, level 5. He clenched his fist, feeling the air warp around his hand. Rank 4, level 5. Aside from Seraphina, no one in the order can match me. He stayed in the forest for 2 months, hunting beasts to solidify his new power. When he finally returned to the Zenith Order, he looked like a wreck, clothes torn, covered in dust. He walked into the Grand Hall. Seraphina, Victoria, Emily, and Julian were waiting. They looked at him with disdain. "You're alive?" Seraphina asked, annoyed. "I ran into a high-level beast," Caleb lied smoothly. "Spent 2 months running." "Where's Chloe?" Caleb asked, noticing the third sister was missing. "Don't mention that idiot," Seraphina snapped. "She got greedy, tried to steal fruit, killed the wolf cubs, and nearly got everyone killed. If I hadn't arrived to kill the Wolf King, they'd all be dead." "That's right," Julian sighed, looking tragic. "I tried to stop her." Caleb suppressed a laugh. Without him there to blame, Chloe had become the scapegoat. "She's in the dungeon," Seraphina said. "As for you, Caleb, you abandoned the team. Your punishment is to go to the glacial depths and retrieve a cryorb." Caleb's eyes narrowed. The same punishment as the last life. Back then, it was a death sentence. Now, it was a grocery run. "Director," Caleb feigned fear, "I have a fire affinity. The cold will kill me. No excuses." Seraphina shouted. "I'll go." Julian stepped up, chest puffed out. "I'm only rank 2, but I'm brave enough." "See?" Seraphina glared at Caleb. "Your junior has more guts than you." Caleb sighed. "Fine, but I need cold resistance pills." Seraphina threw a bottle at him. "Go." Caleb caught the pills and left. He reached the glacial depths. The cold was absolute, freezing the air itself. He swallowed the pills and dove. In his last life, he barely reached the shallows. Now, powered by rank 4 energy, he swam to the bottom. The floor of the lake was littered with cryoorbs. Jackpot! He remembered reading that absorbing enough of these could trigger a mutation. He sat on a lake bed and began to absorb. Hours passed. The cold energy merged with his fire core. They fought, then fused. Caleb opened his eyes. One iris was red, the other blue. Ice-fire dual affinity. His power surged again. Rank 4, level 9. He grabbed 2 tiny, low-quality orbs from the mud. On the shore, he crushed one to make it look like an accident, keeping the other. He returned to the order. "Here," Caleb said, handing the small orb to Seraphina. "It's tiny," she scoffed. "I couldn't go deep," Caleb lied. "Useless," she muttered. "The poison chalice director." Julian interjected, eyes gleaming. "I know a secret technique to refine this orb into a cryo-elixir. It doubles the absorption rate." Seraphina perked up. "Really? I swear on my life," Julian promised. Caleb stepped in. "Director, before you do anything, check the orb again. Make sure I didn't tamper with it." Julian gritted his teeth. Again with the checks. Seraphina scanned it. "It's clean." "Julian, proceed." Julian took the orb, shooting a glare at Caleb. Caleb just smiled. He knew what was coming. Caleb retreated to his cave to consolidate his rank 4 level 9 power. Julian, meanwhile, went to Emily Snow. "Senior sister Emily," Julian said sweetly, "I need your help refining the elixir. My control isn't perfect." Flattered, Emily agreed. In the lab, while Emily focused on the flames, Julian slipped a clear, odorless powder into the mix. It was a toxin from the Shadow Syndicate, a power suppressant. When the pill was done, they presented it to Seraphina. She swallowed it without hesitation. Minutes later, she convulsed, coughing up black blood. "What have you done?" Seraphina roared, suppressing the toxin with her massive energy reserves. She backhanded both of them across the room. "It wasn't me," Julian screamed, pointing at Emily. "It was her. She spiked it." "No," Emily cried, blood on her face. "I just helped with the fire. You made the mix." "She's lying." Julian wept. She was jealous that I was making the pill for you. Serafina looked at Emily, then at Julian. Julian was her favorite. Emily was expendable. Guards, Serafina shouted. Throw Emily in the dungeon. Interrogate her until she confesses who put her up to this. Emily was dragged away, screaming her innocence. Serafina looked at Julian, her gaze softening. Are you hurt? I'm fine, Director, Julian sniffled. I'm just sorry I didn't stop her. Go rest, she said. Julian walked out, wiping his eyes. Once clear of the hall, his expression shifted to a cold sneer. Old hag, too strong. Next time. Victoria Vance heard the news and rushed to the dungeon. She found Chloe already there, broken and beaten. Chloe Victoria Guisperth. Get me out, Chloe begged. It was Julian. He framed me. Victoria shook her head sadly. Stop lying, Chloe. Julian is innocent. He's evil, Chloe screamed. Victoria left, disgusted. She ran into Julian outside. I tried to talk to her, Victoria sighed. She's still blaming you. It's okay, Julian said sadly. I forgive her. Go on, Victoria. I'll try to talk to her one last time. Victoria nodded and left. Julian entered the cell. He looked at Chloe, who glared back with pure hate. You monster, she hissed. Monster, Julian laughed. I'm a winner. He pulled out a black pill. Open up. He forced it down her throat. The mind slave pill. Chloe's eyes glazed over. The hate vanished, replaced by a dull, obedient void. Master, she droned. Julian laughed maniacally. Perfect. From the shadows of the corridor, Caleb watched. He saw the pill. Shadow, syndicate tech. He didn't intervene. Not yet. The trap in the North news broke of a frost heart, fruit appearing in the frozen North. It was a legendary item, perfect for ice affinity cultivators. Serafina, desperate to heal her poisoning and advance, took the bait immediately. Caleb knew it was a trap set by the Shadow Syndicate. In his last life, he tried to warn her and was killed for it. This time he packed his gear. Serafina left Victoria in charge and flew north alone. Caleb tailed her, cloaked in stealth. The location was a massive glacier. A single, crystalline tree grew in the center, bearing the frost heart. Serafina landed, arrogant and eager. She reached for the fruit. Snap! A golden array lit up the ice, trapping her. 7 figures materialized from the snow, elders of the Shadow Syndicate. Ambush! Serafina shouted, engaging them. Even trapped, she was fierce, holding them off. Caleb watched from a ridge. He saw the chaotic melee. Now, he whispered. He shouted to the gathering crowd of rogue cultivators nearby. The array is weakening. Grab the fruit. Chaos erupted. The mob charged. In the confusion, a white blur shot through the battlefield. Caleb used his supreme speed, leaping over the heads of the syndicate elders. He snatched the frost heart from the tree. Stop him, Serafina screamed. But Caleb was already gone, a streak of light vanishing into the blizzard. While everyone was distracted by the theft, the leader of the Shadow Syndicate, the Abyssal Lord, stepped out of the shadows behind Serafina. He struck her in the back. Poisoned, injured, and humiliated, Serafina broke out of the encirclement and fled south, barely alive. Caleb ran for 100 miles before stopping in an ice cave. He ate the frost heart. The cold was agonizing, but his dual affinity devoured it. Rank 5. Ascendant. Level 2. He had surpassed Serafina. The fall of Zenith Serafina stumbled back into the Zenith Order 3 days later. The poison was ravaging her. Activate the defense array, she ordered. The Shadow Syndicate is coming. The barrier went up. Serafina sat on the throne, meditating, trying to purge the toxin. Director. Julian ran in, followed by Victoria and Emily. Bad news. Chloe escaped the dungeon. She sabotaged the generator. The barrier is down. Boom. The protective dome over the Order flickered and died. The sky turned black as the Shadow Syndicate's airships descended. The Abyssal Lord walked into the Grand Hall, flanked by his elites. It's over, Serafina, he said. Serafina stood up, swaying. I'll take you with me. She prepared a suicide attack. Suddenly, 3 blades pierced her back. She gasped, freezing. She looked down at the sword points protruding from her chest. She turned her head. Victoria, Emily, and Julian. Julian was grinning. Victoria and Emily had blank, dead eyes, mind-controlled. You, Serafina, choked on blood. Surprise, Julian looked. I've been syndicate all along. And your precious disciples? My puppets. Serafina collapsed. The Order's disciples, seeing their leader fall, threw down their weapons. The slaughter began. Kill her, the Abyssal Lord commanded Julian. Julian raised his sword over Serafina's neck. Goodbye, old hag. Swing. A beam of energy sliced through the air. Julian screamed. His hand, still holding the sword, fell to the floor, severed at the elbow. A figure in white landed between Julian and Seraphina. "Caleb!" Julian shrieked, clutching his stump. "You trash! You dare hurt me!" Seraphina looked up, tears mixing with blood. "Caleb, you came to save me." Caleb turned to her. His face was a mask of indifference. "You misunderstand, Seraphina. I'm not here to save you. I'm here to make sure you watch." He waved his hand. A pulse of energy hit Victoria, Emily, and Chloe. They doubled over, vomiting up black sludge, the remains of the mind control pills. Clarity returned to their eyes. They looked around, seeing the carnage, seeing Julian's severed arm, seeing their dying master. The memories of what they had done crashed into them. "Julian!" Victoria screamed, grabbing her sword. "Traitor!" Emily yelled. "D!" Chloe shrieked. The three sisters lunged at the crippled Julian. Without his arm and in shock, he couldn't defend himself. They hacked him to pieces in seconds. Panting, covered in blood, they turned to Caleb and fell to their knees. "Caleb, we were blind," Victoria sobbed. "Forgive us. Save the order. Please, senior brother." Emily begged. Caleb looked at them. "Apologies are cheap. You think crying washes away what you did." The Abyssal Lord stepped forward, clapping slowly. "Impressive drama. Caleb, was it? You have talent. Join the syndicate. We have a spot for a new elder." "Join you?" Caleb laughed. "You guys aren't qualified to shine my boots." A syndicate elder roared, "Insolent brat," and charged. Caleb didn't move. He flicked a finger. The elder's head exploded. Silence descended. "But," Caleb continued, "I'm not interested in saving this place either." He stepped aside. "Carry on." The Abyssal Lord grinned. "Kill them all." The syndicate descended on the remaining survivors. Victoria, Emily, Chloe, and Seraphina were swallowed by the tide of enemies. "Caleb, help us. We're your family," they screamed. Caleb watched them die. He watched the light fade from Seraphina's eyes, filled with regret. When the last Zenith disciple fell, the Abyssal Lord turned to Caleb. "You kept your word. Now leave or die." Caleb looked at the ruins. "I said I wouldn't save them. I never said I'd let you live." The temperature in the hall dropped 50 degrees. "What?" The Lord frowned. "Ascendant rank. Level 2, Caleb whispered. He unleashed his aura. The pressure crushed the floor tiles to dust. The syndicate members froze, terror gripping their hearts. "Impossible," the Lord screamed. "You're just a kid." Caleb drew a blade of pure ice and fire. "Time to clean up the trash." He moved. It wasn't a fight. It was an execution. In minutes, the Abyssal Lord and his army were dead. Caleb stood amidst the silence of the mountain. The Zenith Order was gone. His revenge was complete. The past was dead. He sheathed his energy blade and walked out of the hall into the vast, open world. He was free. The drifting blade Caleb Thorn vanished into the wider world. A ghost story whispered in the underground society. Some called him the Rogue Ascendant. Others, the Carefree Immortal. He owed allegiance to no one, bound by no sect, ruling his own destiny under the endless sky. Story complete.